And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we go. Another time with the two of the, well, one of us is really good looking. One of us is kind of ugly, but that's all right. It is the Weighing In podcast coming in at edition 98, Josh. We are 2 away from 100. We had a great night on Thursday with some fantastic fights and finishes at Bellator 253 and then the UFC pay-per-view 255 with Figueiredo versus Perez. And we also had Shevchenko versus Maya, and Maya really did a nice job. She was in the fight tough. If you had bet that, I think it was goddamn close to 1,700.
Yes.
You had to give to win 100 on Shevchenko. You were a little worried at one point on
Yes,
that.
you
So
were.
it's all right. So you went to Austin, Texas for a moment. You're back. How you feeling?
I'm good. Just I'm doing what everybody else is doing. I'm taking a look around the rest of the United States and seeing where I want to move. California is not the place, my man. It's
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's just a personal preference. I think right now with the taxes going up and just people, the schools, public schools and
You mean no public schools, you can't work, you can't have Thanksgiving dinner, but the governor can.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
There's just a lot of things. I mean, outside of all that, there's other, you can't really do much, and then there's a lot of people around that are, I went to other areas, other states, and it's very, it's a lot more warming. So let me just give you an example.
It's apparent that it's nicer there, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is. Well, here, let me just give you, it's not like here, not so much like, I was just in Austin. The weather was 81 degrees. That was, and I'm here in California right now and the weather is like 40. So everyone talks about the weather. I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, sure. But I was enjoying with some friends on Friday night, some barbecue and sitting outside on the porch and next to the pool and eating some barbecue, man, in 81 degree in shorts. So it was kind of nice. It rained on Saturday morning just a tad bit, but it was still nice. It cleared up a little bit later. A beautiful area, good areas, good. Like I love to play golf, plenty of golf courses there in Austin. Nice areas. So we'll see, man. I mean, I've got other areas. I'm going to look over there by you as well in Tennessee. I'm going to look.
Both places have good barbecue, so you're good there.
I'm going to look in North Carolina a little bit as well. I got one of my biggest sponsors out there, Oak Grove Technologies. And, Ed Ruth just moved out there with his family. Josh Koscheck moved out there and got married. I mean, some of my old friends are still there. So whatever. I think, we'll just take a spin around.
Gotta look.
Take a spin around the United States and see what this country has to offer. So
there you go, man.
That's really what it comes down to. We're having fun. I think it'll be fun. I want to try something different. I've lived in California pretty much my whole life. I lived in Idaho for 7 years, through high school and for sure college, and then after that, I've lived here pretty much. So I was born and raised here in San Jose, and I've been here for 20 years, since I started fighting in the UFC and stuff back in the day in 2000. So I've been here.
You're smarter than me because I lived there for over 50 years.
Yeah. Well, I've been here for 20 and then I actually lived here for 12. So I'm kind of close, and I'm kind of getting a little bit, I'm smarter as I'm getting and a little bit faster than you, a little bit smarter and faster than you. But overall, look, I mean, I guess for me, California, it really just comes down to if, I'll give you an example. I've lived in my house. I bought my house 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The one I live in. I bought my house 11 years ago. I know one neighbor. And the only reason why I know that neighbor is because it's the neighbor to my left. The only reason why I know that person is because that neighbor, their grandson is the one that lived next door to the house that we bought. That's it. That's the only reason why I know them is I bought the house from their grandson that lived next door to them. And he moved like 20 minutes away. But that's the only reason why I know who they are, and they're actually friendly and they talk. The rest of my neighbors, when you walk out of your driveway and they walk out of their driveway at the same time and they look at you and they don't even wave at you. That's how this has become. Yeah,
oh, that's bad.
No, I could be, and this is one of a couple of years ago, I realized I would be running on a trail at 6 a.m. For fight stuff, like probably a couple of years ago, 4 years ago, and maybe longer than that, and I'd be running. It's like 5:30, 6 a.m. on the trail, and there's no one on the trail. You pass someone, They don't even wave. They don't say hi. They don't give a nod on their head. They just like they act like you're not even on the trail.
Yeah, but did you give a hi?
Yes, I always wave, and they just keep going. Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah, and it's not just one person. It's almost everybody that walks past you. And so I'm just like, it depends on what you're looking for. I'm looking for a little bit more community and for people to, I think when I went out and played golf down in Florida with some of our friends from our producer from the show, from Bellator, his friends were, one was to the left, one was to the right in terms of, political stuff. But man, the two of them were fun to hang out with.
Yeah,
they were so fun.
Not about political views, it's about person.
It was so fun, man. I had a blast. I had a blast with them, and I even think our buddy was a little. It was like I went home and you went out more with my friends, and I was like, hey, it was a good time.
Your friends are going to be my friends.
Yeah, it was so funny, but it was great. I loved Florida as well. So, anyways. Good stuff. All right, well, let's get into the UFC, man. What do you think?
Man, I thought going into it, we had talked, and I thought it was a good card overall. Beforehand, I thought, people are going to sit there and complain about certain. I think it's really a good card, and I'll tell you what, it started off awesome because the first fight of the night was Sasha Palatnikov against undefeated Louis Kroos, and they were going for it, and it was a barn burner fight. I mean, maybe not the greatest technique in the world, but it was guys showing a lot of heart on both sides. Both were getting beat up, and it was fun to watch. And I want to say I lost money on that because I didn't really know much about either. I'd seen Sasha fight once. I had watched a clip of Louis Kroos when he won the Dana White thing, but he was like undefeated. Had never been basically out of the first round, which showed in the fight later on. But, I looked, I said, I got my bookie thing. Dude, it's 575 or 100, but you know what? That's almost a sure thing. 5-2, a guy that's got mostly decisions. Well, the guy that I remembered that I saw fight in, long ago in Asia is a different guy today because he looked really good, man. He looked tough. He came after it. Being trained by John Wood. John Wood, you did a great job with him. Be proud, man. He was a completely different fighter. He got the win, and he deserved the win.
So, full disclosure, guys, I was on a flight, and I didn't get to see the first 4 fights of the prelims. I saw the rest from when we got to the, was it Cynthia Cavillo? No, it wasn't. That was the other front. Scroll down a little bit there, buddy. Podcast Dave is not here. He's on vacation. Oh, the Shevchenko fight. Antonina Shevchenko.
Podcast Dave has been on vacation his entire life.
Yeah, I know. This guy, he's always gone. What the fuck? Jeez. Anyways, and the one fight that I'm really upset that I missed was the Alan Jubon fight because I'm a huge fan of Alan Jubon, man. He's just
Alan Jubon looked fucking good because I'll tell you what, the guy he fought, Jared Gooden, that dude he's a stud, man. He is put together like a brick shit house. He was very calm, very composed because we both know Alan can fight in the stand-up. Alan's stand-up is really good. And he was getting hit with shots, but returning them. They had a clash of heads at one point, and that really kind of damaged Alan's right eye. You could see he had problems with it, had swelling out of it. But just a tough back-and-forth fight, because there was times when Gooden was coming on and he was putting big shots on Alan. Alan would come back with kicks. His kicks were kind of a difference maker. And then at the end of the fight, he almost had the guillotine choke. He gets top side on it. Time goes out. It was a really great competition between two guys that were really going for it. And at basically 39 years of age, Alan Jobin looked freaking good.
He doesn't look 39.
He does, dude. He doesn't look 30.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's funny. We've had guys in the UFC that people have talked about being good looking. This kid's extremely good looking.
Well, he is a model.
Yeah, I mean, like
he's like he is a righteous model, similar to Luke Rockhold. Got paid for it.
Wow, wow, he's a savage. I guess I love when people like he posts a lot about his son. He posts a lot about his his training with his kid, his boy, and he seems like a very good guy. And every time I would like comment on his page or for his social media, And he'll always respond with like something very positive. I love being around people like that, and he's a phenomenal person. I like he did his I saw his little interview he did. Not interview. He did a little video of himself in the ambulance on the way to the hospital just to kind of like get it checked out. I was like, oh man, I didn't hear the results yet because I was just got off the flight, and I got on my phone. And I saw, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to the, thank you for everyone for supporting me. And I'm just going for standard precautions to see, what's wrong with my eye. Didn't say whether he won or not. I was like, pulling my hair out. I'm like, did you fucking win or not? So, but no, I finally was able to see the highlights a little bit. I saw some of the highlights and that was it. So, but wasn't able to get onto my phone and start watching until the Antonina Shevchenko fight.
Yeah. But, I did, when Alan first started as a fighter, I did his first fight was against Tyson Griffin's brother, Kyle Griffin. And it was at the Tachi Palace in Lemoore, California there. And he knocked, I want to say it was 15 seconds. Knocked him out in 15 seconds. Look, just boom, wow. Knee down, out, stopped it. So then he goes, his second fight, I'm back at Tachi Palace, and it's against Chidi Njokuani. Remember Chidi?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you talk about a back and forth in the stand-up, but Chidi ends up knocking him out, hits him with a body. I think it was a body kick or a body shot. Oh. I think it was a kick to the body. Joe Bain just folded over. Oh. I didn't blame him. I would have folded over too. Yes. But then he went on a win streak from there, and got himself into the UFC. He's had a really solid career. He's a good fighter.
Yeah,
he had one of the hardest elbows. Josh, I am telling you, I did a fight in the UFC that he, who was the, I want to say he's Australian, Richard Walsh.
Scroll up and down.
Richard Walsh is the fighter, and he hit Richard Walsh with an elbow that sounded like he had a hammer in his hand.
Yeah, that was Rousey and Zagano fight, huh?
Oh, man. He hit him so hard with that. That was the end of the fight, but I mean, there's times when Allen is just brutally good. I think, obviously, I don't think he's going to be competing for the championship. He's, past that point of his career, but he's still, you're going to get in a fight with Allen, you're going to have your hands full.
Yeah. He's, he's always been fun to watch. And, I just like it. I like him more. I can't say I don't like him as a fighter. I like him, but I like him as a person, and that's what I think. For me, that's kind of what I gravitate towards when I see people on their social media. When I see fighters on their social media, and they're I guess reacting. They're interacting with their fans, and then other fighters.
They're positive.
They're very positive. Very positive.
That's the whole point.
He's a pleasure to follow. And it's a pleasure to watch him fight as well. So even though I missed this fight, but I've seen him fight plenty of times, and he's always fun. The Antonina Shevchenko fight.
Yeah, she looked good, man. She was getting rocked in the stand-up. Here's this girl that's, I don't want to say 10, 11-time Muay Thai champion, all that stuff. She was getting rocked by Lipsky in the stand-up. She took some big shots and took it to the ground, and, she's always talked about her having problems. Well, she's obviously training with her sister and that team, and her ground game looked good. She was doing good work, opens up with the ground and pound, gets the win. That was a big time win for her.
I feel like the two of the Shevchenko, both of them, they have this thing, or I don't know if something's going on with their stand up, or they're just not feeling as much as they like it, but they've been working so much on trying to make their grappling better that it's just now taken over. Like their training, because it seems like it's just natural for both of them to punch their way to the clinch and to use the knees and the foot sweeps and things like that to get the person to the ground, the trips to get them to the ground. They couldn't look any more different though.
Oh yeah,
they don't look anything alike.
No, they don't.
I mean, I was like, is one adopted, or are they, they have different dads? What's going on here? So, I mean, but they don't look anything alike. That's like, if you said this is my sister, I'd be like, yeah, right. So, but it's good, man. I think Antonina, she looked good. She was like, I agree with you. She was losing the stand up. She was getting him some big shots. She closed the distance really well. She was able to get some takedowns. You could just tell between the two of them, though, they both have really heavy hips. Because when they get on top, I don't know if they're just physically strong. When they get on top, man.
I think physically strong.
Yeah.
I think Valentina's even more physically strong than her sister.
Yeah, she looks it.
But, yeah, I mean, come on. Some of the ways that she, were jumping to her fight. Look at some of the takedowns she hit.
Yeah.
Look at, and she does a great job of turning that angle, getting to the side, and then, she doesn't try to do it from the front. She steps her way through and then makes the throw. It's just technically really done well. It's fun to watch.
Well, it's low risk, high reward type takedowns.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to. It's like if I don't get the takedown, I'm still behind you,
still there
around your hips, or if I do get the takedown, I maybe am in half guard versus full guard. And that's kind of where a lot of fighters like to make their living. So, pull the other card up. I'm gonna get on you, buddy. If you don't keep up, get on you. We got Podcast Dave's buddy in here, Gian, and he better keep up because I'm gonna jump over the table and give him some licks.
So you didn't get to see the Nicholas Dalby Daniel Rodriguez fight.
I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, that was one. I know Cormier thought that Daniel Rodriguez had won and stuff. It was a close fight. It was but Dalby's the guy. If you recall going back, Ross Houston, who fights for Bellator now, Ross Houston and Nicholas Dalby had a battle in Cage Warriors that it got so bloody and so bad, and Cage Warriors uses the old vinyl, flooring, that Mark Goddard, the referee, had to stop the fight. He ended it and called it a no contest based upon too much blood. Because they both couldn't move. They're slipping and sliding, and it was crazy. But he had a really good. That's a big win for him against Daniel Rodriguez, who trains with Joe Schilling, who I thought really fought at times really well. Sometimes took some. Dalby's different because he's kind of got the karate style and he uses his kicks a lot.
Got it.
But it was a good fight overall. Like I said, I thought that the preliminary card, it really had some good competition. Kyle Dawkins looked good. That fight was a tough fight. Him and what was it? Dustin Stoltzfus.
Okay.
I know Cormier. We had a hard time saying that name. Now I am. But Dawkins looked good
all the way down. Look for Dawkins. It's at the bottom.
That was the second fight of the night.
Yeah.
But Kyle Dawkins, man, you talk about it. He got a funky build. I'm just gonna say it. It's a little bit weird. God damn, he's long for 185 pounds.
Dawkins.
Yeah, man. He's super long and he's good, man.
His last fight was his last fight was pretty good. I remember we talked
Brendan
about
Allen.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that fight and it was a good fight.
Yeah, it was a close fight. And I thought Brendan Allen was really good, and man, he looked good against him. And then he came out in this fight, and I'll give it to Dustin Stoltzfus is good.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tough dude. He's got power. He's got actually really good grappling. He was going after different things because I know that Dawkins has got good grappling. And at times when you were watching the fight, you were seeing that it was Stoltzfus that wanted to be in the grappling scenarios and Dawkins wanted to be more in the striking. So
yeah. Good stuff. Let me see. Oh, the Joaquin Buckley.
See, I'm still pissed.
Why?
Man. Frick, he had 5 fights in Bellator, and they got rid of him when he lost to Logan Storley. Okay, losing to Logan Storley. Yeah, Logan, dominated him because he kept taking him off his feet and stuff. But
yeah,
I love Buckley in the fact that Buckley comes to fight. He goes after it. He tries to use power. He uses a lot of good techniques. He's got good kicks, obviously, think of his past fights. But he's a gamer, man. And Jordan Wright was undefeated going into this fight. He just basically, in my opinion, he was tearing Jordan Wright up from the beginning. The power was evident. The strength was difference was evident. I think at 185, I like him better at 185 than when he's at 170. I think he's just better. I think his speed is actually noticeably better against that weight class than it is in the welterweights. So he looked good.
I look at it this way, though. Jordan Wright has a really big body frame. He's enormous. Seems like he's enormous for the weight.
Yeah.
Joaquin Buckley was I wouldn't say having problems with him, but that long jab and the power of Jordan Wright was keeping him at bay a little bit, and he was able to sneak one through. But I could see in these exchanges that Joaquin Buckley was going to have to start extending himself more as the fight went on, and that could have left him out of position for Jordan Wright to have success, more success than he was having already in the first round. The first round was close. I gave it to Joaquin Buckley, but the first round was close because at the very first round he got dropped, right?
No,
Jordan Wright did. Jordan Wright got dropped at the end of the first round. That's what I was saying. Jordan Wright got dropped in the first, but that round was close up until then.
Yeah.
You know, and I had I didn't have Jordan winning the round, but it was close. I could have seen it going either way until he got dropped.
Yeah, but Jordan was eating the bigger shots.
Yeah,
when you're looking at it.
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
I
wouldn't. I guess what I was looking at I was looking at more of the stiff shots and the footwork, and I feel like he looked like the better fighter technically because Joaquin kept jumping in and kind of missing. You know, he misses a lot of shots. Like he throws a lot of power, he misses a lot of shot. I guess if as a ref, or not a ref, but a judge, I'd be looking at it going, okay, you've been airballing quite a bit. You know,
yeah, but you don't get anything taken off for the airball. And the other guy doesn't win anything for the airball.
Yeah. I guess for me, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it in terms of it just looked like he had more ring control at the time, based on he was able to keep Joaquin Buckley away with the long kicks. He's also with the long jab, and then every time Joaquin would throw, he would every time he would throw, he'd throw quite a bit of air balls. So to me, that in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a close round. I'm not saying that I had Jordan Wright winning at the time. I had it at this part where it was kind of it was still undecided. I was still undecided with like a minute left 30 seconds left before he got popped.
Yeah, but dropped. It was easy with 15 seconds left. Oh yeah, you're winning.
Yeah, it was definitely easy. Definitely easy. Yeah, definitely. Well, Joaquin Buckley's good. I mean, he's. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's really good. He's talented. He's fast. He's explosive. And I like how he tries to bring the fight. That's what everyone wants to see.
Exactly. That's what I love about him. And you can sit there and I agree with you. I think he said it in his thing. I think the pressure of being the guy that now the UFC is actually promoting, because you think of that the kick that he landed when in Abu Dhabi and what occurred with it and all of the notoriety he's gotten with it. Well, now he's got that little added pressure. And it's like we talk about, there's different levels, and you step up in this game and there's more pressure that comes with it. And I think that he was looking like he had to have that big moment again. He had to put this guy away. And sometimes when you're thinking of putting a guy away, you make mistakes, you have the air balls, and it becomes tougher.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I didn't want him to continue to think, because you have to remember this. Like, sure, you got the highlight reel knockout. They will always show that knockout. They will always show it.
From now until eternity, man.
You don't need to go and get another one. Like, I mean, sure, it's nice to get one, but you don't need to. Just think about it in terms like you will always be shown. That will always be shown as a knockout. And so that'll live on probably for at least another 10 years.
Easy. For his whole career.
Yeah.
Every time that he's going to fight, they're going to show that. All right. After the Buckley fight, we had Brandon Mourinho against Brandon Royval, which I thought was going to turn into a really good fight, but a little bit of an injury was the difference maker in it. Not that Mourinho wasn't doing, what he was supposed to be doing. It's just you get hurt in the fight. But he now has a matchup with the guy we'll talk about later, the champ, in 21 days. What do you think of that?
That's a big turnaround. And here's the other thing. It's funny because Dana also talked about how Michael Chandler didn't want to fight Tony Ferguson because he didn't want to make. We needed time because he didn't want to make weight two times in a row. And these two guys, both of them cut a lot of weight, especially Figueiredo. He cuts a ton of weight. And in 21 days, he's going to make weight again. And they're trying to use I think when I was listening to the Chandler stuff with Dana, I was like, well, he doesn't want to make the weight because of what happened with Tony Ferguson. Because remember, he made the weight and then he wasn't the same fighter when he fought Justin Gaethje. I'm like, I don't know. I get weight cuts are a lot, but it just, I'm happy for Brandon. Brandon's going to end up getting a title shot, which is great. The quick turnaround for both of us. They're very current, so we get to see both of them fight within 21 days. You remember their last fight. You remember how they got there. It's like There's a lot to be said about that. So I think that they'll have a better, and they're trying to do something with Figueiredo to try to get him to become more of a star, because he has fun fights. He has exciting fights and he's very dominant. So why not try and do something with him? You know, that division has been just this, and mainly this, to be honest, you know, but it's just been this because, you know, people don't really tune in. They didn't, you know, no matter what they feel about DJ was so dominant that people just lost interest, you know, and smaller guys, I think not all of them have the pop that everyone does. This guy has the pop. Figueiredo has the pop, and then Brandon Moreno has the pop as well. So to see those two guys fight here shortly, which is kind of crazy because Royval he's good. He's good.
He's really good.
Unfortunate incident where you pop your shoulder out and just there's nothing you can do. You can't move. Like it's just
can't
stuck.
move your arm.
Yeah. I mean, I've had mine. I didn't pop out and stay out, but it popped out and it slid back in. And it's just automatically your mind just changes. It just automatically your mind changes on what you're gonna do. So there's just no way of, you know. And when his coach put it back in, he just stood up. You knew that they had already
just a little twist.
Yeah, a little twist. You knew that they had already been. That's already happened several times. Go get the surgery, buddy. Get it fixed. It's quick. It's easy. It's 4 months turnaround. I fought Gilbert Melendez in 5 months and won a world title against Gil in 5 months after having shoulder surgery. So it's quick. You know, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of therapy, a lot of rehab, but it can be quick if you want it to be quick. It's up to you. But get it fixed so that never happens again, because that was shaping up to be a really good fight, and it sucks we didn't get to see what it could have been because of that.
Yep, but it's, you know, again, injuries happen. I don't look at it like, obviously Brandon gets the win, Brandon Royval gets the loss, but he didn't lose. You got you know, injury that happens in the fight. That's just the way it is. But it was like a precursor for the disappointment of the next fight, in my opinion.
All right, go ahead.
Oh man, Shogun needs to stop.
I told you. I didn't just tell you. You knew that already, but we talked about this. This was our midweek show last week, I think it was. I just have no interest in seeing him fight, man. Like, even the interview he did before, you're looking at him going, man, dude, you're just not looking good. You know, and he's just, you can see the wear and tear on the body, on everything about him. And, you know, like in his prime, Paul Craig wouldn't have held a candle to Mauricio Rua. And, you know, he was dominating. Paul Craig was dominating that fight. You know, he took Mauricio down with takedowns that were not, you know, they weren't bad, but it was the actual response by Mauricio that made it look good, because he got his legs together, his feet together. Just everything looked bad. It just looked like he was running, you know, 3 speeds behind. You know, I felt bad for him. I hope they don't have him fight again. You know, it's the same thing, you know, with Anderson Silva. I know Anderson, you know, was released, and I know he says he wants to continue on with what he loves. And I'm sure there's someone out there that will give him fights, but it's not something I want to see. And I don't want to see it in the UFC. And I think Dana has already talked about, he needs to talk to Mauricio about retiring, and he should, because, you know, it's just not there. Yeah. I don't know. Everyone does it for a different reason. Once I realized I wasn't going to be a champ and I wasn't going to get back to being a title, then why? It's like, don't get me wrong. It's nice to get 1 or 2 extra checks for a little cushion until you figure out what you want to do after fighting.
Sure.
But I mean, I don't know their financial situations, but you got to start thinking long-term life situations, you know? And I don't know. He looks like a zombie out there. Like he is, you know, it's like, he just kind of goes through the motions of just what he's been doing. His body just naturally does it.
Naturally, but it's just not there.
There's no pop behind his punches. There's no real aggressiveness behind his kicks. There's nothing. It's really like almost like a really slow shadow boxing, or not shadow boxing, but sparring session with his buddies. Just years and years of his body being ingrained and being able to do it. It just does it naturally. You know, like I tell that story about the Pat Healy fight all the time, because it's exactly what was going through my mind. It was like, I told myself I couldn't lose a takedown in the 3rd round. And as he took me down, I was telling myself, because I had 2 broken ribs in my sternum, and I was like, just stay down. Something's wrong with I didn't know if they were broken at the time, but I was like, I knew something was wrong. I couldn't take breaths. I couldn't get my breath. Anyways, So I get taken down. I'm like, just stay down. Like, it'll be all right. You know, like they'll understand. People will understand. And as I'm telling myself that in my mind, my body is just trying to stand back up. And that's all I see with them, is that it's just that. I see with Shogun is that he throws a combination and just puts his head down, and just his body's so used to it. It's like punch, punch, kick, kick, punch, kick. It's like it's just a repetition of what he's done his whole life. And he just sees it, and it just happens. And I don't know how to put it, but Paul Craig, I agree with you, wouldn't have lasted 3 or 4 minutes with him, the prime one, you know. And Paul Craig just manhandled him. The physical strength is not there, just the body's not there for Shogun. And I don't want to take anything away from Paul Craig.
No,
he looked good, but it's just
he did it, and his grappling is outstanding.
When you're getting TKO'd by a jiu-jitsu guy, you got to start thinking, okay, look, it's time for me to wrap this up. Yeah, you know,
I know in the broadcasts, Rogan and Cormier are trying to say, well, he's only got 1 loss in his last 5 fights and stuff, and it's like, yeah, but it only takes 1 fight to change someone forever. And he had that 1 loss, I know, against Anthony Smith. If you go and that was he got stopped in that fight, but he got crushed in that fight. And I honestly think that fight is that one that started to change him, because he got crushed in that thing. And I don't know. It's time. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him damaged to the point where he can't enjoy his family and his life with whatever comes in the future. So, yeah, that's one of those. Great guy.
Yeah, he is a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Chikagian and Cavillo.
Man, Cavillo better figure out, you know what? People aren't afraid of me.
Yeah.
It's not what it is, and it's, if you are going to get into a gunslinging match with someone that's longer and faster, you've got to make that conscious choice, that decision that I need to step this foot inside of that range to take away the kicks that she has, to limit her punching power with her jab and everything. And I don't think that, Caitlin has, incredible punch power, but she's got that snap. And when she's long and you're at the end of her punch, it's knocking you back a little bit. Cavillo never had that moment where you looked and you said, all right, she's really working to get herself inside. At moments, she would give that little bit, it looked like it, and then she'd back off.
Yeah.
And she just let Chikagian dominate the fight.
Yeah.
And she did. She dominated the fight. She made it look easy.
There comes a moment, which we'll talk about a little bit with Mike Perry. Mike Perry felt like, I think in the last 10 seconds, 15 seconds, he felt like he needed to get a knockout to win that round. And to win the fight also, too.
But he tried.
Cynthia Cavillo never tried that. There was like, okay, I'm okay with just pot shotting and getting out here. When people are afraid, they're more concerned about not getting knocked out, or more concerned about just getting through the round or through the fight to get to the decision. That, as a promoter, I think promoters start thinking like, you knew you were losing. So why didn't you get after it? Why didn't you go for it? Why didn't you try your hardest to get in? And I never saw a moment there where she tried really, really hard to get on the inside and put her foot in her ass. You know what I mean? Like
one of the things that I see that, and it has nothing to do with her fighting, but it usually tends to tell me something about the fighter's mental state, is, she was with, in Sacramento with, Team Alpha Male. That's where she did most of her training and stuff. Then she went to AKA, and she was at AKA for how long, Josh?
Not long.
Not very long. Now she's in Vegas.
Yeah.
And usually when you see someone jumping like that, it's telling me upstairs there's just problems.
Well, I understand the AKA thing.
It can be family problems. It can be a lot of things.
It was the COVID problems. Thing. AKA was closed for the longest time. She was getting offered fights. She couldn't take them, so she had to go somewhere. And she obviously didn't want to go back to Alpha Male. I mean, AKA just barely opened a couple weeks ago, and then now they're shut down again because the government shut down again. So those fighters out of AKA, that's probably why you don't see a lot of them fighting, because they have nowhere to fucking do a camp. They're sneaking into gyms with buddies and training out of DC's garage when DC's in town, which is very rarely. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. These guys don't have camp. AKA is up and down closed, and it's not their fault. Just the city. My gym just got shut down on Thursday when we were doing the show. While we were doing our Bellator show, the city came and shut my gym down. It's all right, well, whatever. Just, nothing we can do. So, just one of those things. It's like that, and that's another reason why I'm just looking at Austin, looking in Tennessee and looking in Florida and looking in North Carolina, so. Yeah, it was a little disappointing. I mean, I think she's talented. I think but she looks so much smaller than Chikagian. She looked extremely small, but the weight cut to 15 is going to be too much for her. And so I don't know. She's going to have to either up the game in certain areas, spend a lot more time focusing on her wrestling, or she's going to have to just sometimes bite down on her mouthpiece and fucking get after it. I didn't see that from her in either one of those situations. So, I mean, her wrestling, she shot 1 or 2 shots and they weren't close.
That was it.
Yeah, and they weren't close. And so it was like, all right, well, then now what do I do? There was never a game plan. Okay, what do I do now? I can make this a dog fight. I didn't see that out of her either. Like, when shit ain't working, man, you got to make it a dog fight. And I'll give you guys another example of myself, my personal experience. I lost the first round to Tony Ferguson. I lost the second round bad to Tony Ferguson. The third round, it was like, I knew I was like still fucked up going into the third round. I'm like, just go for it, man. You got nothing else to lose. Fuck, you lost the first 2 rounds. What's going to happen? You lose a decision if you go for it, you get knocked out, you get submitted. Okay, so we just get through it and move on to the next one. Like, a loss is a loss. When you look at the L column, it's still an L. It doesn't say like, it doesn't mean like, well, he got an LL because it was an extra loss. Like, you lost extra hard. It doesn't mean that. It's like still an L, so it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Right? For me, it never mattered. Like, in the fight with Gil.
For a lot of people, it does though.
Yeah,
for a lot of people, it does. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't, but it does.
Well, here, like the fight with Gil Melendez, I knew I was down on the cards the second fight, not the third or the first, the second fight, which to me was one of the most exciting fights ever in MMA. And I came out on the short end of the stick, but Bob told me at the end of the 4th round, he's like, you need to knock him out. And if you watch the 5th round, I came out and tried to knock his fucking head off. No success. But it was fun for the fans. But it's
it was a good fight.
You've got to bite down on your mouthpiece at times and be like, hey, that's why when we get into the Mike Perry situation, the talk, I'm like, hello. Yeah. I mean, you stood. There was moments I was like, if I was Tim Means' coaches, I'd been like, what are you doing? Back away, move, circle out, hit him with the knee and get out, or push kick him, keep him away. Like, I mean, that's all I would have been saying, because he was winning the 3rd round pretty easily. And then when he decided to stand, I tip my hat to him for standing in there and taking the chance.
But a dirty bird.
It was so fun, man. It was that last 20. The fight was fun, but the last 30 seconds to a minute were a great minute. That last minute of the fight was awesome. So Cynthia Calvillo needs to get a little lesson from Mike Perry in that situation.
If there's one thing that I will give to Mike Perry, dude, he's a gamer, man. The guy, and he's actually got. I'm looking at him from when I first saw him, his first fight in the UFC, because I had not seen him up to that point. And then to this point, when he first walked in, he was nothing but a guy that's, he hit hard and he had punches.
Yeah.
He would throw a kick every now and then. He didn't have a real grappling game. Got out of position and everything. But look, he took Tim Means down and he was doing good in the first round.
Yeah, he got his back.
And he was doing good, man. And yet you look at everything. He's progressed as a fighter, and he's always got in his back pocket power.
Mm-hmm.
He can hurt you with his hands. He hits hard. And you look at Tim Means fought a beautiful fight after that first round, coming back. He moved his feet. His jab was just popping Perry throughout the fight. Yeah. And then he would throw that straight left down the pipe on him. Just everything he did. He went to the body. I thought, some of his kicks were super hard to the body. Tim never loads up on punches because he knows he's not that big knockout artist. He usually, if he's gonna hurt somebody, he usually does it with elbows inside. He's got really mean elbows inside when he comes across. He hit Perry with a couple. They didn't do anything to Perry, but Tim Means, is a volume fighter, and he put a ton of volume on Mike Perry, especially in the second and third rounds. And I thought Perry was tired after the first, and man, he was hanging tough even through that third. And I love the fact, like you say, end of the third, I'm losing. I got to go. And he goes for it. He went for everything he had in trying to get rid of Tim Means. And it made it for a great fight. We had talked. We said, what fight are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah.
I said, both of us. Tim Means versus Mike Perry. Why? Because it was exactly what we thought it would be.
Yeah.
It was that kind of fight, and that's fun. That makes, you love the sport.
Yeah, those are the fights that, like that make us want to continue to watch those guys fight. Valentina Shevchenko, Jennifer Maia. I got to tell you, how many people that bet fucking $1,800 or $1,600 on fucking Valentina were sweating after the second round?
Puckering, dude. They were puckering. They were like a puppy trying to poop out a peach pit.
They're like, oh, shit. All that to win $100
like,
bucks.
oh.
You had to bet $1,600 to win $100. Just crazy. Yeah, I would have been. I would have been stressing the fuck out. I almost put $100 on Maya just cause I'm like, yeah, $100 wins you. I'm like, let's give it a go. But
I did.
You did? Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah,
fights,
it was 800. I think it was $800 when I put it on. I was like, screw it. It's that free money. Didn't even mind losing it either. That's in that situation I go,
Here's
what?
Here's my thing, but why? Why is Valentina? Why is she taking her down? I know she's good. I know she's evolved her jiu-jitsu game or grappling game, but why? Like, you're better on the feet. I mean, I thought maybe, okay, look, let's not do it in the first round where we're still dry. Maybe I'll take you down in the second. I'll fill you out in the first, take you out in the second, get your arms a little bit more tired, and then 3, 4, and 5 just fuck you up. It was like she took her down early, dry, and it just didn't make sense to me. Like, there's a chance for you to be caught there. I mean, nothing really happened in the first round. It was, it was just Valentina keeping her head down, trying to throw 1 or 2 big elbows, and then moving on. Whereas Maya wasn't really opening up and attacking because she didn't want her to get past. I mean, I understood that both of them were still filling each other out in that direction. But if I was Maya in that first round and knowing that you're dry, I'm trying to get something. I'm trying to get to something. Whether it's a sweep or whether it's submission, something. Or I'm even just trying to show you that I can get up from the bottom on you, and then I'll have to take you down. She had one moment there where she, in the fourth, I think, she got taken down. She put Valentina into butterfly guard, kicked her back, pressed her to the fence, and then took her down. I was like, yeah, oh, snap, son. Like, it was good. I was like, that's good. In the fourth, it was in the third or the fourth round. I think it was the fourth. Good stuff. I mean, out of everybody that impressed me on this card, she was the one that impressed me the most. Jennifer Maia. Good. I didn't think that she was. I thought like everybody else thought. I was like, 2 rounds, gone. She's gonna get starched. She's out of here. I mean, like, I didn't think she was gonna. I think she would get out of the second round. Just personally.
I thought in the stand up she would have actually a little bit of problems just based on speed. I think Jennifer is a well trained, technical stand up fighter, but doesn't have the speed that I thought Shevchenko possesses. But if there's people going on in the future, there's some things that you can learn from what was taking place in that fight. Shevchenko showed a couple of tells. There's a couple of things that she repeats over and over, and I think Jennifer Maia was catching her a couple of times based upon it. So I don't know if she saw it in watching tape beforehand or if it was just during the fight. It was something that she or her coach picked up on and stuff. But she tends to loop her head out. She comes in, throws, and then circles out, to her right based on her backside. And Jennifer was landing a left hook over the top. She came in with an uppercut one time that touched, did a good job.
Yeah.
She just not quite the athlete. And I think the physical strength was a difference in the fight. I think when Valentina grabbed a hold of Maia, she was in control of her. She was in control of the body, except when in the second round, when Maia, had position on top, Valentina was able to for the most part, but that was expected. But you give Jennifer Maia credit. She went out there to win. She gave it everything she had. She took some big shots. She kept fighting back with her performance. She, in my opinion, as far as that was someone that had a chance at it and gave everything that she could give in trying to win that title. So, hats off to her.
Yeah. I thought she fought good. I thought Jennifer Maia fought a good fight. I felt like she was the stronger person until like the late.
You thought Maia was?
Yeah, because the way she was keeping Valentina pressed against the fence, the control, the head position.
See, that was, to me, that's technical. That's
No,
technique.
It's technique. But you
Good
still need to have a
technique.
little bit of strength to keep her there. I mean, like, come on. Like, no one's really been able to do that to Valentina. I mean, Amanda Nunes didn't do that to her. You know, I mean, like, it just not that, like, not, she had to press against the fence for almost the whole, third round? Like, not the whole third round, but like a big portion of the third round. I was like, wow, this fight's getting close. And then she finally was able to run away with it. But, anyways, I was impressed with Jennifer Maia. I have to agree with Rogan a little bit. Her stock went way up. Her stock increased a lot during that fight. I mean, then I don't know who would be next, but if you put Maia against any of the other ones, like Cynthia Cavillo or anything, like, I think she walks right through them.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see what I needed to see out of Cynthia Cavillo, and I like her as a fighter. I just didn't see anything out of her that made me think that she deserves to be up in that top group of girls. So, all right, let's go Figueiredo and Perez.
Just, it went exactly, you know, I had picked Figueiredo to win. I was surprised, man. Brett Okamoto was sitting there with Gilbert talking, and he says, I'm picking Alex Perez. And I like Alex Perez, and I've seen him fight a lot. Yeah, I just didn't see where he was actually better and stronger. Yeah. Didn't have the power. I was like, I just don't see it. I thought Figueiredo would end up winning that fight. I didn't think he'd win it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't think that was going to happen, but he's a beast at 125. He's super strong. He's aggressive. He hits hard. He's got a really good submission game. He's got the full package, you know, and, you know, DJ, you know, as great as I have always thought he was and everything, there were some limits to, you know, what he did. And he didn't have a lot of power. He obviously, he knocked Joe Benavidez out in a fight that I did, but Joe was coming at him hard, and that creates that extra energy. Figueiredo doesn't need that. He has got pop for a smaller sized individual. He's got power. And so you watch him hit guys, and you see that look in their face like, damn, that hurt. And he's aggressive. Yeah. I love that about him. And he's got that mean streak. He goes after it. So I honestly, I love the fact that he's coming back 21 days later. We just talked about it a little bit before. You know, I look forward to watching him. I think Brandon Moreno is tough as nails. You know, I first saw him when he was in the Ultimate Fighter, when they did the flyweight thing. Whoever won it was going to fight DJ, you know, and when I first walked in there, they were all saying, oh no, this guy, you know, he's not, he put on a tough fight. He went against, who was it? I want to say Pantoja in the Ultimate Fighter, but they were saying he was going to get smoked. And look, he was giving him fits. I know he lost it, I think, in the second round, which is the 2-round fight.
He lost it for Formiga.
No.
You're talking about
this is when he was in the Ultimate Fighter. Gotcha, I want to say it was Pantoja.
He fought Pantoja again later.
Yes, he did. He lost him again. I think that's one of his other losses.
No, his other loss was to Formiga. He beat Pantoja.
He beat Pantoja?
At Holloway versus Edgar. He beat him.
I know he lost to Sergio Pettis. I did that fight. You know, put up a tough fight. It was a good fight back and forth. But he's good. I just don't think he has the full ability to get past what Figueiredo does.
Oh, okay. So that's what I was confused. You're talking about Perez.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was talking about Brandon Moreno.
Okay. Sorry.
He's gonna be fighting.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at the fights for Figueiredo, and he had lost to Formiga, but he had beat. Yeah. He'd also beat Pantoja. So that's why I was looking at that. Perez. Screw down.
Not Perez.
Not Perez.
I was talking about Moreno.
You have to listen to John, okay?
I jump all over.
It's okay, but you gotta listen.
Moreno, you got to figure. You know, Moreno was on.
It's one thing to be here, but you gotta actually listen to what he's saying so you can pull it up. I'm gonna ride you today, buddy. Okay, you ain't getting a free pass because fucking you're Dave's friend.
This is the only way Josh will be able to hang with me. He doesn't have this crap in his head like I do.
No, I don't. I've been hit a lot. No, pull up Moreno. Yes.
Moreno's on like a 4-5, I think 4-fight win streak now. His last
Moreno.
Brandon Moreno. My God.
I'm gonna beat him after this.
I want to say his last loss was to Pantoja, I think, who Figueiredo had beaten.
Yep, his last loss was, and then he had a loss right before that to Pettis. He had a draw with Askarov.
Oh, yeah.
He had
Askarov.
a draw split with Askarov. Askarov,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he beat Kai Kara France. He beat then he beat Formiga. And then he beat Brandon Royval. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, it should be for a fun fight. Should be a fun fight.
Should be. He's tough. Dude, this is when you get into, it was kind of like when it was Brandon Royval and Brandon Moreno. It's like, you bring two tough Hispanic fighters together.
Yeah.
They bring it. And if there's one thing I'll say about Brandon Moreno, that kid brings it. He comes to fight. There's no quit in him. So when he fought Pettis, I thought he fought, tough as hell in his, in Mexico is where the fight was at. It was the main event of the fight of the card and stuff. He fought his ass off for 5 rounds against him. So didn't get the win, but he could fight with anybody. Good stuff.
All right. Well, look, before we roll into Bellator's recap on that as well, we're going to go to MyBookie.
Oh, one thing I want to talk about before. What's that? I'm sorry.
I was going to mybookie.ag. Use the promo code weighing in, and that will double your first initial deposit.
They will not double it.
Oh, they won't?
Not anymore. That is gone. Now it's 50. So if you put in 100, you get 150.
Oh, okay. So it's 50. Man, I like the double
50%.
one. We're going to have a time with them.
Of course you like the double one because you kept on wanting to double your money.
Yeah, that's right. Who wouldn't want to?
Because you're losing.
All right, well, let's talk about the Bellator card. What do you think?
Oh man, I thought some of the fights were just outstanding. There was let's go. The main event was the fight to get into the Grand Prix finals between AJ McKee and Darian Caldwell. A lot of stuff going on, between those two, and we talked about who we thought would win and stuff like that. But AJ McKee has gone out. He knocked out Karhanyan. He submitted Campos, and now he just submitted Caldwell. You can't ask for anything more, man.
No.
Because all are good, tough opponents, and he's just making everybody look like they don't belong with him.
Yeah. I mean, I want people to understand, too, like the fight that people are going to probably criticize him for was the Campos fight. He fought crazy, he fought sloppy, but he also tore his knee out.
Yeah, he tore his knee.
Yeah, so he tore his knee in that fight, and he ended up getting the submission late in the third round, I think, or late in the third round, and
with a beautiful submission,
with a beautiful transition right to the reverse triangle / armbar, and it was nicely done. And for someone who has a torn knee, that shit hurts, and the fact that he slid it in so fast, he locked it in quick. It was a quick tap as well. Great job, man. I mean, so look, the AJ McKee and Darian Caldwell fight. It just was one of those positions that you really, as a shorter guy, probably wouldn't be able to hit. A longer guy has the leverage to be able to body lock, keep your hips down, and then reach inside and thread the needle through and then push and crank and to create the leverage to do that. AJ McKee knows his body. AJ McKee knows what submissions work for him. And maybe they're not the most, this is a technical submission, but it's not something you would normally see. I don't know if it's ever been done in MMA. Has it? Like in terms of high level competition?
High level? No, I've seen it one time, the 100%, we call it 100% crank is what it was. Now they're calling it I think Luke Thomas called it the McKeotine. There's no guillotine there. Goddamn, his neck is not in
McKeotine.
There's nothing as far as a choke involved in it.
That's so
funny. When we were, we were there commentating it, and you were actually talking about, that Darian was using a lot of energy in trying to hold a position. And when I saw AJ, go to the figure four, and then when he figure forward his arms off of that 100%, I was pointing like, he's got something that neck's getting cranked.
And I was talking.
He was tapping.
And I was just yapping away. I was like, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I didn't want to step on you.
You should have stepped on me.
But you don't know he's going to tap either. Yeah. So, and I honestly, I didn't think he was going to tap it, but I knew that he was getting cranked. But, this is the part of AJ McKee that he's dangerous everywhere. We talked about it, Josh.
Yeah.
He's got power. At 145 pounds, he's got power in his hands. He's got good knees. He's knocked people out with his kicks. He's got a great high kick. So he's got a good striking game. He's fast. He's long. He keeps the length well. He understands distance. Take a look at his grappling. His wrestling has always been good. He's always been able to put people on their back when he wants. Now, he got taken down by Caldwell, and he kind of expected it. He said, yeah, he'll take me down. He goes, what's he going to do with me when he takes me down? And he does have a good submission game. He has submitted some really good people. I remember when Daniel Crawford, who was, I want to say when he fought him, he was either 10-1 or 10-2 when he fought AJ, and a guy that prided himself on a good submission game. He says, you watch, I'm going to submit him. I said, you're going to submit AJ. I'm going to submit him. I guarantee it. And he put it out, he put it out there, it wasn't me that said it. Crawford said, you watch. He goes, you're going to sleep. And AJ then said, oh, okay. And purposely went for a submission just to prove that, oh, you're not even in my league.
Yeah.
And, he did it. And he's the full package. And I've always said it, the one person that can stop AJ McKee in my mind is AJ McKee.
Yeah.
He can get himself in that position where he's not, doing the right things, but it seems to me as he gets older, and he's only 25, but as he gets older, he's getting it. He's understanding exactly what he wants. He's seeing all of these targets that he wants to, acquire, and he's doing the right things to get there.
Yeah. We had talked to him that week, and then I had said several times at 25 years old, it's one thing to say who you are and talk about how you've matured, but it's another thing to actually prove it and show it. He carried himself like a gentleman all week. He carried himself in a different way that I have yet to see him. There was not a lot of flash this week. Normally he's walking around in a suit with a shirt unbuttoned all the way down to his belly button, a gold medallion. Like he's got he had
the gold medallion. He had that big old M with a key.
Yeah. So, but he normally has like this flash about it. This week, it was like sweats and a shirt and a sweater. And he seemed very focused. He did his camp at Big Bear, all the guys and Joey Davis was out there with him as well. And Baby Slice. And I just feel like maybe he's right. Maybe he did mature over the time. Like, hey, this is really what I'm going to do. It's one thing to like beat up on all the guys that, you're, I guess, physically gifted over. Like he is so talented, and I feel like we haven't even seen what he can do yet. Like there's a lot of things that he can do. I don't want to compare him to John Jones, but he has a little bit of that John Jones feel to him right now.
Come on.
He does things.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, he does things. He's not as quite as flashy as John was. Like John would do the spinning elbows and the, like John kind of would do things that were a little different, but AJ's been doing a lot of different stuff as well. But it's just, I see that little bit of that. I'm 25. I can do it all. And until someone proves him wrong, I'm kind of on the bandwagon, but Patricio comes out and says, Emmanuel Sanchez will be my toughest fight. AJ McKee's a walk in the park.
Yeah. Well, that's nice to say.
Yeah.
He's already fought Emmanuel once.
Yeah. And it was a tough fight for him. And Emmanuel's got a little bit better since then.
That's right.
But so is Pitbull.
Yeah.
So excuse me. So that this whole thing, all this traveling the last.
That's an Austin Young.
Yeah, that's an Austin Young. No, it really just comes down to AJ's undefeated. I don't think any of them have really been close. The fight with Pat Curran wasn't close. It wasn't one of his best performances, but that was like a huge step up in one. That was a huge step up in his talent level, and he didn't really know what to expect from Pat because Pat hadn't really fought in a while, or he had just fought, but then he hadn't fought in a while. But he wasn't the same Pat. So he
dominated the fight.
Yeah, he dominated the fight, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same Pat. He didn't know what to expect from Pat. Also, too, was the first round of the tournament. And so he was kind of
That wasn't the first round of the tournament.
I thought that was his first guy in the tournament, wasn't it?
No, that was before the tournament.
Okay, so it was before the tournament. But it was one of those fights where he just, I think he was, it was nervous. He was nervous about the whole thing. You know, you're fighting someone who's a former champion who you know has got power in his hands. He's kind of a technician, someone that just kind of, there's not a lot you're going to get through. If you make a mistake, you can capitalize. And I think he fought a smart, safe fight. And then he went out there. First round of the tournament was Georgie, correct?
8 seconds.
Yeah, so 8 seconds. Went out there, hit him with a shot, dropped him, knocked him out. That was crazy and impressive for the first round of the tournament. And then he fought Derek Campos. Derek Campos was, he went out there, thought he could just, this guy's, older, he's tough, sure, but I'm going to break him. You're not going to break Derek Campos. We've talked about
there's
that.
certain guys you don't.
There's just certain guys you can't break, and Derek was bringing it to him, man. I mean, Derek picked him.
I know.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, you could have picked anybody else, buddy. Like, you could have picked someone else. Anyways, Derek picked him. And, he said he was going to scramble his eggs. It didn't work out that way, but it was still one of those fights that in my mind, I'm like, wow, this fight could have won anyway because AJ had torn his knee. And just, it wasn't, you could tell that he wasn't the same fighter going in the second round. And then going into the third, he wasn't the same fighter. He was able to slide in that submission, but it was getting interesting in that fight. But then he went out there and just proved, why he is one of the best, man. He went out there and subbed Darian real quick. I mean,
real quick.
I thought he looked dominant. He looked calm, composed. All week he looked calm and composed. So he looked good. I thought, I don't know. I think Sanchez to me is not a threat to him. Maybe
that's the fight. McKee has wanted that Sanchez fight multiple times, and they had it signed and then it fell apart. And then when it came to the fighters being able to pick, Sanchez had the opportunity to pick McKee, and McKee standing up there saying, do it.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He ended up going with Weichel, which changed that up, and that's fine. But, that's a fight that McKee has wanted. So, and the best thing you're hearing out of McKee now is he doesn't care. He goes, I don't care if it's Sanchez and I don't care if it's Pitbull. Because eventually I'll fight both of them. Yeah. He goes, but I just want that $1 million. I want that title. I want the title for the featherweight Grand Prix, and I want the belt. So
and then
they'll all be there.
And then he wants to go to 55. He's a big body frame. I mean, what is he? 5'10", 5'11", and he's a big body frame. I think Sanchez has gotten a lot better since the last time he fought Pitbull, but I think he's just not that big, and he doesn't hit extremely hard. He's got a lot of pressure. He puts his combinations together really well, but AJ gonna touch him. So I know he can take Daniel Weichel's shots, but can he take AJ McKee's shots?
There's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference, and so we're gonna see. I mean, how much damage is he gonna take in the Pitbull fight? That's the other thing, because AJ McKee's made it look easy this whole way through. And so is Pitbull. Whereas Emmanuel Sanchez has been a couple little fights. Especially.
Well, let's just be honest. Sanchez's opening round was against Taiwan Classic. That one went to the second round.
Yeah.
Okay. So then he gets Weichel. That one goes 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Pitbull had Juan Archuleta. That went 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Then he gets Pedro, and that one ends in the first. Mm-hmm. Again, go back to AJ. First round, 8 seconds. Went to the third round, first round.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, no one has won all of their fights by either submission, knockout, whatever you're going to say, other than AJ.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the experience of Pitbull may come through. There's a lot of ways to look at it.
If you look at Pitbull in that fight, he has everybody that they've ever put in front of him. Because you go back and, he lost to Pat Curran. Well, first he lost to Joe Warren, and that was at a time when, Joe Warren out-wrestled him. Pitbull didn't understand it so much, and he never got it back.
Yeah.
They never fought again. If they had fought again, what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So then he fought Pat Curran, lost to Pat Curran in a championship fight that was a decision. It was a split decision. And then he comes back and he beats Pat Curran. He loses to Daniel Strauss and beats Daniel Strauss how many times?
Yeah.
because they've rematched like 4 times.
Well, he beat
he's
Daniel.
like 3-1.
He beat Daniel, then he lost to Daniel, and then he beat Daniel again.
I think he did. I think he beat him twice, 2 more times.
I don't see the one. Maybe up higher.
Yeah, I think so. I think they fought 4 times.
Oh yeah, so they did fight 4 times. Yeah, so
Boom,
he beat him. He beat him, lost, and then beat him. Yeah. Wow.
So everyone has put a loss on his record for the most part. He's been able to come back except for that Warren fight.
Benson Henderson. That was a broken leg.
And we talk about that one, and that was, Benson was losing that fight, and Pitbull broke his leg, and finally just said, "Hey, I got to stop." And so, if you put them back together, who's going to win?
I would probably lean towards.
You're going to go with Pitbull.
Yeah, probably, because he was winning that first fight, and he's gotten a lot better since then.
Yes, he has.
And Ben is good, and I feel like Ben's a technician. Phenomenal. Just the speed factor was the biggest thing in that fight, and the power I give it to Patricio as well.
Power goes to Patricio, even though he's the 145-pound guy. He hits harder.
Yeah,
he's just got that power.
Yeah.
And again, you can take power and say, well, can you build it a little bit? Yes, but you either have it or you don't. And that's a God-given gift thing. Some guys naturally have power, some guys don't, and it's okay. But talking about Benson Henderson, he had that fight against Jason Jackson, and both of us looked at that and said, I just don't see that as a good fight for Benson. Jason's too long, can control it, in the stand-up too much, has good defensive wrestling, and Benson ended up losing that fight by decision. Jason Jackson looks good, man.
Yeah, he's on a different level right now, I think, than a lot of guys. I mean, I really would like to see him in the Amosov fight. But I think Amosov's going to get the next title shot against Douglas Lima, which makes sense. You're 27-0, 26-0.
20? No.
I think he's 20. Amosov is 27-0.
I want to say 20.
26.
25-0.
25.
The 26. Okay.
I think he's 26 now after the Storley fight. I think he's 26.
He might be
26-0.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like the Juliana Velasquez thing. You can't keep telling them that you're going to get the next shot and then you don't get it. Like, you're undefeated. Like, it's time. Let's just get it going.
Well, when you say winning solves everything.
Yeah.
There comes that point when you're winning. What are you going to say to me next?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to put him in that fight.
You got to put him in the fight. And I think it makes for a fun fight. Amosov I don't know what it is, but he is good. He's talented. He scrambles very well. But looks like he tends to get tired around the 3rd round. And Douglas Lima has proven he's not going to get tired anymore. He's just going to go out there and keep fighting. He fights a smart fight. He's got big power, big pop. That's going to be a fun fight. The Jason Jackson fight, I mean, outside of that, Jason Jackson should be what? Pull up Jason Jackson's record. Jason Jackson should.
What should he be?
Yeah, he should be like what? 8 and his last 8 or 9 fights. He should be on like an 8 or 9 fight win streak, right? If you look at
he broke his ankle in the Dana White Contender Series thing. He goes in there, so that was a loss. And then his fight against Ed Ruth. Mm-hmm. I think he won the fight. So really. All of those, if you put it, he should be on a pretty long win streak.
Yeah.
He's been fighting really well.
Jordan Larson, he beat Scott Futrell, and then Hermanson De Souza. And then you've got Kunamoto. He lost to Ed between that De Souza fight. And then Jordan Mean he beat, and then Benson Henderson. So he should be a 7-fight win streak. And then he was in the Dana White Contender Series where he broke his ankle. So that was against Kyle Stewart. Look, he's good. And I feel like he's elevated his game. I saw him afterwards after the fight. I talked to him a little bit, and I was very impressed with the fact that his jiu-jitsu's gotten a lot better, and the guys he's trained with have helped him a lot with his wrestling. And I've told people, go back and look at, there's a YouTube video running around on YouTube of him sparring with Luke Rockhold, who's a 185-pounder and who's fought at 205. And he had some great performances, or great sparring sessions with him as well. And the two of them are exchanging blows. And I would call it like a 50-50, sparring show. They went after each other.
And he had the same thing with Rashad Evans.
Yeah, I mean,
there's tape of him and Rashad sparring. They're going after it, and you go,
Yeah. And Rashad being the former champion, not only that, but then fighting also at 205, 185 as well. It's like, I don't know, he's good. He's good, and the fact that he's gotten better at wrestling and jiu-jitsu makes me feel a lot better about it all. I think he's ready for for those other guys.
Yeah, he's improving.
Joey Davis has proven that he is ready for the next level. I don't know how else to say it. I think he's ready for that next level. I mean, he's that damn good. He made it look easy. He dominated everything. He's so calm, so composed. He reminds me a lot of Gegard Mousasi, where just not much.
He does. Not
much expression, not much of anything. Just like, whatever. Go out there, do my thing. I mean, the guy hit him in the back of the head. He's like, "Come on, man!" And the whole
he did.
Everybody in the stadium just started laughing. Everyone in the arena started laughing. They're like, "Oh God," because he's like talking, like he doesn't talk to them, but his opponents, but he lets them know, like, man, you're cheating. Like, like, come on, man. Like it's just that lets you know that like not much bothers him, but like, let's make this fair. I mean, kid's got such good credentials. He comes from a good family. He just grew up in a really shitty neighborhood and area, but he is someone that it seems like he's got his shit together when it comes to him. It's hard to get your shit together when you're in a gym full of other athletes and stuff. There's a lot of egos going on, and you're going to have your ups and downs in that department but here's the thing. He's not confused on what he wants to do. He knows he wants to be the best. He knows how to get there too. He knows how to be a winner. I mean, he hasn't lost in wrestling or in MMA. Like, he knows how to be a winner, He knows all the things that it takes. He's very humble. He's gosh, man, I love, when you walk into a room and you listen and you're around someone and they don't even have to say much, but they just exude confidence. They exude like that person that you just know you want to be around them. He has it. He has that factor. Like DC has it, but DC talks so much that it
exactly.
becomes that, other guys that I've been around have had it before, but like he has it, like, and it just, he does it more, obviously a lot quieter than DC does, but you want to be around them. And I enjoy the interviews that I did with him. I enjoy talking to him in the fighter interviews. I enjoy interviewing him for his fights. And I love watching him fight. So good, so talented, and he's ready. We were scrambling our heads together to try to see who could be next in that upper echelon of guys. And I mean, we came up with a couple guys, but I'm interested to see who they put him against next.
Yeah, me too. Because I will tell you this: I've known Joey for a very long time. When he was in youth wrestling, and he's always been, his dad is just a phenomenal man who is there all the time. When we talk, this is the first time I was like, "Hey, is your dad going to be there?" And he goes, "Oh, absolutely." He was in his corner. He made him a corner man because his dad normally is not in his corner, but is there watching everything that Joey does. His dad is there for him, and his dad lives through Joey, but lives for Joey, and Joey reaps the benefits of everything that his dad has done. But, there's other parts of his life that aren't perfect. And he's got some, issues. I talked to, people about it. And, Joey's going to have to figure out he can't control everything. You can control things in the cage. You can control things when you're fighting. You can't control everything in life. And right now he's got a lot going on, but he is doing things as far as community wise. He's big with the community where he came from, big with kids about, hey, you can control your own destiny. Everything that Joey does, I love him. And I hope he gets through some of the hard times and some of the stuff he's dealing with, because everybody, I don't care who you are, we all have problems. We all have things that we have to deal with. And Joey's going to have to figure out, what he's doing. But as a fighter right now, man, he is good. His wrestling is so smooth now because he can use his hands to get to the wrestling when he wants. Because the guy that he fought, Bobby Lee, is a good fighter. He's a tough dude. I've watched him before, and he's super strong. And the funniest part of the whole thing is afterwards, Bobby Lee looks at his corner and he goes, "Yep." And he was just as strong as I thought he would be in reverse, because it's the technique of Joey Davis that makes him strong. And so, Joey's on his way. It's just a matter of what, who they give him and stuff, but people are going to be having to figure out Joey Davis for years to come as far as his abilities.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a spinning back kick knockout. He's got several ground
body kicks.
Body kicks. He's got some flashy stuff, but he's also very technically sound. And like I said, he knows how to win. And that's when someone knows how to win, they've been doing their whole life is winning because of the work they put in. It's going to be hard to break that type of stuff.
It's hard to teach them how to lose, man.
Yeah. And like,
if you're that fighter inside, you got to teach him. You got to teach him. Oh, you're going to get beat. He doesn't believe it.
Yeah. I don't believe he's going to get beat either for a while. So Rafael Stotts, to me, I'm glad that fight got bumped up to the TV. It was a great fight. Absolutely great fight. Very technically sound on both guys. Keith Lee, I think, was just a step behind on some of the things in the transitions. But I thought Rafael Stotts mixed it up. Like we had talked about, the difference between Sean Bunch and Rafael Stotts when they fought Keith Lee was Sean Bunch doesn't put the two things together. He punches or he wrestles. He doesn't wrestle and punch together very well. And as if Sean Bunch doesn't get the takedown, it becomes an issue. It becomes like, okay, I didn't get it. Okay, now it's like more stress on him. Rafael Stotts, that never bothered him. He's like, okay, look, I'm on the feet. I'll touch you, and the takedown will present itself. And that's exactly what he did. He made it extremely easy for him to get those takedowns and then control the position. And once that started happening, it was harder and harder for Keith Lee to stop the takedowns. It was harder and harder for him to get up. I thought Rafael Stotts looked phenomenal. I'm excited to see where they go with this fight because, you have the two of them out of the same camp. You've got Pettis and you got him.
Yeah, I know.
And it's kind of a race. It's kind of that race for that Juan Archuleta fight. So here's the thing. Pettis is next. If he wins, where's Stotts go? There is buzz though that there will be. They're talking about doing a 135-pound World Grand Prix, which would be awesome because we just signed a ton of tough guys. Magomed Magomedov is going to be in that tournament as well. He's the former
Matos.
Who else?
Matthias Matos from Brazil. He's out of the Pitbull Brothers gym. Okay. He fought against Peter Yan. He lost to Peter Yan. He's like 12-2. Yeah. Or maybe 12-1.
But Magomedov is someone who's beat Peter Yan.
Yep.
And that's actually his only loss, correct?
Yep. He's 1-1 against Peter Yan.
You got Higo will probably be in that as well at 135. I don't know if he'll make that cut, and then I'm sure Darian Caldwell will go back down for another chance at $1 million. He'd be foolish not to. Hey, didn't work out for you. I got to the semifinals in the 145. Let me go to 35 and see what's going on.
Yeah.
That's one way to stay active and make as much money as you possibly can.
There's a lot of talent there. I thought in the Rafael Stotts fight, first off, I want to give Keith Lee a shout out. Dude, you fought as hard as you could. I think that Rafael Stotts made Lee fight harder than he could keep up with as far as the energy, and it started to sap him a little bit because of the pressure and exactly what you're saying. Because Keith Lee had fought Sean Bunch, and he only had to deal with one element at a time.
Yeah,
and that made him more comfortable in the fight. And I think in this one, he had to deal with multiple elements, and it made him have to work harder. And you could see that he was working hard in the fight. I look at a guy, and I always say, as the fighter, you only have a couple of rules. One is, hey, be on time. 2, make weight, and 3 is fight hard, fight to the best of your ability. Keith Lee did. He fought his ass off. He was going against someone that he was trying to get rid of the whole time. He was just always that, I say a half step behind in that fight, but really fought his ass off.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. It's just that Stotts made it. He put the two things together better in that situation. So, Jeremy Kennedy looked good against Bassett. I thought he looked dominant. The first round was it was decent, but for about 2.5 minutes, and then Kennedy was able to get a hold of it and continue on. But I thought it was a good fight, man. And then the fight that I was the most impressed with, and John, you brought it up to me, was Jalil Willis. That guy's fucking good. Not only is he good, he can bounce from 50 to 55 to 70, and he looked.
I don't think he should.
I don't think he should either. But I'm saying, like, he looked good. I don't know if is he the same fighter at 55 because I haven't seen him fight at 55. Is he the same fighter at 55? Is he better at 55? Because he looked damn good at 70. He was touching Lemminger. Lemminger had nowhere to go. He was beating. He was winning him in the exchanges. He was able to out wrestle him. He was stuffing all his takedowns. I was like, he looked good. He looked phenomenal. He's a super nice guy.
He is he's very good with, and now his stand up, he switches back and forth. He's got good footwork. He gets himself in with his feet and moves himself back. He doesn't just lean, he's doing everything right. he's going to be a fun fighter to watch. He is good. He's athletic. He's got very good wrestling, good defensive wrestling. He can take you down when he wants. He's the full package. He's going to be fun to watch. You know, I don't know if I think he should go to 155. I know he had that first fight that he was scheduled to fight Pitbull at, and I told you, I said, hey, look out, man. He's gonna give Pitbull a problem. I'm not saying that Pitbull can't, hit him and hurt him because he's got that kind of power, but he's gonna have a guy that's in his face tagging him a lot.
Yeah.
And he's got that ability. I'm not sure, now that he's come in and fought at 170, if you're the matchmakers, you can sit there and say, I'm gonna have you bounce back and forth. I don't know if that's good for him. I would rather see him stay at 170. I think he can definitely fight with anyone there. He's got a good big frame. So
yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah,
he's a big guy. I mean, but where do you go from there? With who would you have him fight next? He's not quite ready for the Jason Jackson. He's not ready for Amosov or Jason Jackson level. I mean, maybe an Ed Ruth.
You could put him against an Ed Ruth. You could put him against an Eric Silva. You could put him against
Eric Silva would be a fun fight.
That would be a fun fight, a good fight for him. A guy that's got a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Tough
good
dude,
fight.
comes out fast.
Yeah, good fight. That's a good fight. And then I guess knowing though that if it doesn't work out for you at 170, you can always go to 55.
Yeah,
you can do that. Like that's kind of what a lot of fighters do. Like I'm not having success right now. If it's 70, maybe I'll go to 55. Or maybe like if you're going to 55, you go the opposite way. Like Dos Anjos and Cowboy, they going up to 70 and Masvidal. Go up. Hey, you're the tweeners. But I was impressed with him, and the other guy I was impressed with JJ Wilson. I mean, not much to look at, but it was so quick, so fast. But that little switch step to the punch, beautiful. And then the follow-up was accurate, right to the button. He didn't rush it. He did rush it, but he didn't rush to the point where he was missing shots. And he put them away. It was quick. What, 8 seconds?
I think it was 20.
They moved a little bit then. I was trying to remember. I thought it was 8 seconds.
I mean, if you look at it, though, AJ, you talk about that follow-up. Mm-hmm. That follow-up was a broken jaw.
Oh.
He broke Dabari's jaw. You can see it. There was, when you see blood coming out of the mouth and it's real dark, it's usually an indication. It's not a good thing. So that was a very impressive performance for JJ because he's got the ground game. We know that. But Dabari was a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so it was going to be, we'll see how he matches up here. Never got to it.
Yeah.
Never. So.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he looked good. I thought he looked phenomenal, but it's hard to tell because it was so quick. But I like what he's doing. I like how he did the little switch step because that lets me know that he's working on some things for his feet. Because majority of the time he's mainly just a jiu-jitsu guy. He likes to try to get people down, press them to the fence, take him down, dominate the position, get the submission. But in this, like when I start seeing little tricks like that lets me know that he's been working on his stand-up. He's trying to find little things that work for him. And I love when young fighters are doing something that's just, hey, this works for me and something different. It's not just the traditional, like stand in front of you and just hands up and try and outbox and out kickbox people. Because the veterans, as you get a little bit better, like when you get a little bit to that higher group of fighters, they've already seen all that. So when you have little tricks like that can land something and maybe catch them off guard, it makes me feel like you're working on your craft enough to try and be explosive, do something different. And I like to see that out of the young guys. So Baby Slice didn't have a good night. Just didn't pull the trigger. I don't know what and why, because he looked like he was in phenomenal shape. And normally
he wasn't tired.
Normally the knock on him is that, he goes super hard for one round and then he's gassed out and, but I mean, realistically, look, I think there's a lot of, and just to be honest, he's living up to his dad's persona. I don't know if he wants to be a fighter, man. I don't think he does.
That's what I said.
He's a nice guy. His dad was
he's a super nice guy.
Dad was an extremely nice guy. He's not, I don't know if he's a fighter, and it's okay. It's okay that you're not a fighter. But you can't waste your life doing this. You can't waste your life giving us half-ass, fights. And he's good and he's got talent, but in this fight, he didn't pull the trigger. Like there was never a moment where and then once one takedown didn't work or two takedowns didn't work, he just abandoned them and he just stood
abandoned
there
it
and just kept his hands up and that was it, man. That was all there was, left to it. So I don't know. I don't think he's a fighter. I think he should stop. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah. We've talked about it. And whatever he decides to do, the best to him. And if it's continue fighting, great. But you've got to go back and look at that and say, hey, he didn't so much beat me.
Yeah.
I gave it away. I let it happen.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't score if you don't take the shot.
Yeah.
You know, you got to take the shot and you got to go. And so there was also in Invicta, Kayla Harrison had her first fight at featherweight.
Did she make the weight?
The weight?
Did she make the weight?
Crushed. Kayla Harrison, when she gets on top, man, you are not getting away from her. I don't care who you are. On top, she loves going to the crucifix position, and man, she'll go to Kezukatami, trap the arm sometimes, but she is a beast if she gets on top of you. So it's nice to see her fight again. She actually fought in PFL gear. Kind of cracked me up. Invicta show have PFL gear on. Obviously, there was an agreement somewhere along the way there, but
of course,
she's what? I think it's like 8-0 now, 7-0, 8-0, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
she's good.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah,
did she make the weight? She made 145.
She made 145.
PFL ain't gonna be around much longer. Trader. Let's go, Cyborg. Let's go. Let's get that fight.
I would love to see it because I think she give Cyborg some problems if she gets her down.
I could agree. I could agree with that.
Her down, man.
That's the fight to be made.
She's not gonna do well in the stand up against her, but man, she gets anybody down. I don't care who it is. She gets Amanda Nunes down. She will give them fits. They are not getting enough from her, and she is going to damage them. Doesn't mean she get them out of the fight, but she's going to damage them. She is strong. She's got great base. She understands balance and positioning, and she's just getting better because, she's, when she first fought, there's a lot of holes there. Those holes are closing up.
Yeah. I just want to see her fight Cyborg. That's all.
I would love to see it.
That's the only fight I want to see her fight. Until she comes over and fights Cyborg, I don't care. just me. It's just true. It's like that division at 145, and they're just making girls fight at 55 to fight her. It's like it doesn't really even exist. It's just her. And it's kind of how Amanda Nunes is right now in the UFC. There's like two girls that can fight at 145. Now that Cyborg is here in in Bellator, we've got a couple girls of our own that are, there's just not a lot of girls that fight at 145.
No.
So what are we doing? Let's just cross promote them all. Let them fight each other. Give them some fights. And hey, the best woman wins. I would love to see that. I would love to see it. Great stuff. I'm excited. I'm glad that she made the weight because that lets us know that she can be traded. that's what it does.
She's being traded already. All right, got it. We've had one trade in MMA, if you want to call it that, throughout the history. And now we're going to have this one.
Let's do it. Hey, it just lets us know.
You also had Alex Pereira fought in LFA.
Mm-hmm.
Kickboxing world champion from Glory, a guy that has knocked out Israel Adesanya. He fought Thomas Powell that night and knocked Thomas Powell out with dropped him. He's got power. We were talking about him earlier in the week, and he's, I think, 33, almost 34 years of age coming up or something like that. But he doesn't have a lot of time when you're looking at it. But I know he wants to go to the UFC, and if he goes there, could he create problems? He's got the power, but I don't think he translates as well as Adesanya with his kickboxing to the MMA world. But he's got power.
I don't think they're gonna. What are you gonna do with him, man? Like, he's 34. You can't rush him.
Problem.
You can't rush him to the top to fight your champion who's younger, who is undefeated. Like, it's just not. It doesn't make sense for them to do that. And like I said, we know how the UFC works in those type of terms, and they're smart. It's smart on their part. You got Izzy, who's what, 29, 30 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's 30.
And you look at Alex. He's already got a loss on his record. I think. I'm not sure if it was first MMA fight or whatever it was, but he's phenomenal in the kickboxing world, and he's got power.
It was his first MMA fight. He lost. If
he touches somebody, he's gonna hurt him.
Yeah, his next three fights were KO, TKO, and KO. So So he's obviously got some power. But I mean, hey, well, I mean,
A little.
it'd be nice. He wants to go to the UFC. He wants to fight Izzy, but they're gonna put him against somebody else before he fights Izzy. They're not just gonna throw him in there to be champion. That's not how it works. And then he's
especially at 34 years of age, they're gonna go. Let's see what you do.
They're gonna give him someone like Gastelum first, and Gastelum's just gonna fucking just run circles around him, take him down, run circles around him, take him down, wrestle him. Oh man, good stuff. And then here, what else? There was what news you got for me?
I got one thing.
Okay,
I want to say congratulations to Mark Ratner, who the UFC put in the UFC Hall of Fame. Mark is a special guy in the regulatory world of MMA. Came from being an inspector in Nevada, ended up going all the way to the head position of being the executive director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He was in that position, I think, from 92 until 2006, so 14 years, which is unheard of, really, when he took the job with the UFC. I worked with him before it was legal in Nevada. He's just a quality individual. He's one of those guys, when you look, he's the mold of what people in the regulatory world want to be. Mark was very even-handed, very calm, very analytical about how to do things. Never puts himself in a position where he makes a decision real fast, except if it's the Tyson Holyfield fight and Tyson bites someone ear off. He's quick to say, "Let's get this fight going again. Take the points. Don't DQ him."
Oh jeez.
Well, he'll talk about that. I've talked to him. He says, "Yeah, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have told Mills that." But he was, he's looking at a big pay-per-view, and and it's not going to happen again. But he's a guy that's got a ton of respect, from everyone, and he deserves that. He helped get the sport of MMA, and especially the UFC, legalized in a lot of places around the world, not only in our country, but I think his biggest shining moment was when New York finally legalized MMA. That was with a lot of persuasion and stuff from Lorenzo Fertitta too, but going in the Hall of Fame, he deserves that. And congratulations to Mark Ratner.
You just said a lot of persuasion from the mafia, is what you just said.
Ratner has nothing to do with the mafia. I just want to point that.
No, I know. No, but you said Lorenzo Fertitta. There was a lot of persuasion from Lorenzo Fertitta. I was like, yeah, the mafia. So, the fight that was announced: Tony Ferguson and Oliveira.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. You don't like it?
No.
Why? Why don't you like it?
Well, I do like it. I really like Charles Oliveira. I think, Bronx is freaking good, and his submission game is outstanding. He just doesn't have the style that's going to match up well, in my opinion, with Tony.
I agree. Why don't you like it then? I like Tony.
Well, I like Tony too, but I just look at it and I go, I think I'm not sure, what's the win streak that Oliveira's on, but he's had some really good fights. Fought Keith Lee. Got a win against him. I'm sorry,
Kevin.
I said Keith. Kevin Lee. Well, I was just talking about his brother. You look, styles make fights, and sometimes styles make it to where you go, oh, that's a fun fight based upon this. And I just look at everything that Charles does. If he can keep it on the feet and keep length, he's got a chance. But if it gets into when Tony's able to grab a hold of him, pin him up against cage, hit him with elbows, it's gonna go downhill fast. I just look at it that way.
But if he can get Tony down,
he's got a slick submission game. He really does. But he normally pulls things out. He's the guy that'll pull off. He'll pull off the calf slicer. He'll pull off the bicep lock. He'll pull off the freaking he hasn't done it, but he'll be a guy to pull off a twister.
Yeah,
he does those type of submissions very well. He's got a good, very beautiful job of setting up a rear naked choke when he switches hands and the way he'll lock it in. He's slick. I just don't think that, again, and I could be wrong, but I think that matchup with Tony, he's fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, he's not a big guy, Oliver.
No, he's not.
Not for 55. but he's like, it's too much for him to cut to 45, and 55 he's just too small with the way that the guys have gotten so much bigger now at 55, you know. And so I look at guys like Islam Makhachev. I'm like, oh God, you should be fighting at 185, not 155, dude.
Oh, Khabib's the same thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, Islam's got the bigger frame, taller, longer, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's why I use him as an example, because he's big. Anyways, I'm excited for the fight. I think Oliveira has a chance in the submission department, potentially in catching Tony with his head down in a guillotine. Tony's obviously not going to take him down. He's going to try to keep him at arm's length. But Charles got a good little push kick. You know, he's got good technique. He slips punches really well and throws very well. But I agree with you. If Tony fights a smart fight where he presses him to the fence and just starts hitting him with elbows, controlling him, wrist control with those big ass enormous hands that Tony's got.
Charles will not get his wrist free.
Yeah, he won't get his wrist free. And I'm like thinking to myself, I agree with you, but I think it's going to be a better fight than you think. It'll be a better fight than you think, or at least what your tone of voice just described it to be. Okay. It'll be a better fight than that. But I'm excited to see Tony fight again. I want to see how he comes back from this.
I want to see Tony fight again. Yeah, you know, it is a question when you look. It's how does he perform in this fight? Because if he comes back and he's the old Tony, you're going, oh, he's back. But if he doesn't, and Oliveira, you know, does a good job with him, has his ways in certain things, then it could be that, you know what, we might be seeing the decline. It's a possibility. But
he is 37 now. So I mean,
36.
That's about that age, man.
Yeah.
You know, I fought Nate when I was 36. And then at 37, you know, lost to Benson or whatever. But then it just starts to trickle downhill. It's, I don't know, one loss gets you, and then you kind of change a couple little things. You start feeling like you're not the same fighter. The confidence starts to hit you. Tony doesn't seem like he lacks confidence.
Never.
You know? So maybe he won't have the same problem I had. It's one of those things. I mean, but you know, like we continue to say this: Father Time's undefeated. There's nothing you can do about it, and it's just that situation. So, I guess that's it. So look, just real quick, you guys. I want you guys to understand we were having some technical difficulties throughout there, and the camera was kind of giving us a little bit of a fit. So bear with us. You know,
we know it's there.
We know it's there. We apologize for that. Also, go to mybookie.ag or mybookie.com, and that'll take you directly to their site. Use the promo code weighing in, and they'll give you an extra $50.
50%.
Extra 50%. 50%. Okay.
Yes.
And use our promo code weighing in, and that's how they track us. And then also they give you an extra 50% of whatever you deposit, correct?
That is it.
There you go. Up to $1,000.
Up to $1,000.
Up to $1,000.
So if you put $1,000 in, you now have $1,500.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's not as bad as I thought. I thought you were just saying it was only $50. Man,
oh,
good
no,
stuff.
no.
Good stuff.
50%.
I'll take 50% all day long. $1,000, $500. Yeah.
Hello.
And then when the odds drop, we'll do our midweek show, and we will break down the odds for you guys, and you guys can understand who to bet on, because John been getting rich lately off this stuff. Me, not so much. So maybe don't follow my advice. I'm like one of those big dumb gamblers where I take I was almost gonna bet on Jennifer Maya. I was like, hey, $100 wins me $1,600.
I did it.
Forget it.
I did it.
Yeah. See, maybe you're not as bright as I thought.
Well, I know. I was like, I was like, screw it. I mean, just do this. So, I had a friend sitting there telling me, "Oh, bet this one, bet this one." All right.
Must have been drinking.
Absolutely. There was some whiskey involved.
That's hilarious.
That's all right.
Is there anything else you got for us, Gian? Because you're being quite the talker.
Yeah, we're good now.
We're good. That's it. That's all we get.
All right, man.
Okay. You're going to have to focus on doing your job a little bit better. I'm going to write out a list. I'm going to type it up to you and text it to you. Okay. I'm going to have some words with Dave about I better replace you with someone better if you mess up. All right. Big John, you got anything else to say?
I don't have anything else to say, but see ya.